When Frost's sexism in gaming rant initially happened, journals were claiming she was stunning and brave and that she got attacked because people felt targeted by her because deep down they knew that they were terrible people. And when she was bought out by Comcast, they said the same thing. And now that G4 has shut down, of course, the same individuals are writing articles attacking G4's critics yet again, saying that we are just terrible, toxic people, and the attacks everyone at G4 faced were a major part of its failure. I have a bunch of things to show off, but before we get into the topic at hand, if you enjoy the content that I create, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Follow me on social media like Twitter or mine so that you can see when my content is posted. And of course, if you do really enjoy the videos and the live streams that I create, please consider becoming a Dark Titan via Patreon for just $1 a month, or support the channel via YouTube memberships. All of the links are in the description, and of course, I do really appreciate all of the support. So this is a Washington Post article that just came out. It says why G4 failed. Constant pivots, high costs, and controversy are the reason why it collapsed. So this is written by Nathan Grayson, and he is a main contributor to Kotaku's website, so I expected this to be garbage as soon as I saw his name slapped on this. So the article starts off with talking about the initial closure. I did do an individual video on that, and it will be linked down below, but it says in interviews with the Washington Post, 11 former G4 staffers described their experiences at the network leading up to its recent closure. Speaking on the condition of anonymity due to the signing of NDAs, they described a work environment with ever-shifting priorities from leadership that never settled on a strategy to develop their audience. That same leadership was sometimes absent from day-to-day operations, according to the workers interviewed, who felt they often leaned on the G4 name and other nostalgic show brands and struggled to reconcile the differences between broadcasting on linear television compared to online platforms like YouTube and Twitch. I've said this before, but G4 did help shape the format a lot of YouTubers and streamers use today with review and pop culture shows before YouTube and even game trailers existed, and a lot of people have said that the deck was stacked against it because it was trying to reinvent itself into an era where anyone with a camera phone can do just about the same thing they were, and while I think that is somewhat true, I think people did enjoy a produced show, and at first G4's relaunch did have a little bit of success, and definitely with more focus they could have continued with that idea, but the Frost rant sealed their fate and it pushed a large majority of their audience away, and I just feel like before there could have been a chance, but, well, when you tell your audience not to watch, that's what they're gonna do. Now they talk about how G4 returned and they had a flashy, expensive new studio facility and a soft launch in early 2021, but then they start talking about Frost, saying additionally a controversial segment by the host Frost in which she called out sexism within the show's audience led to sustained harassment of her and other talent. G4's inert response inflamed tension among cast members, employees said. Now they talk about how everybody here basically faced harassment. It led to sustained harassment of her and other talent, yet of course this journalist doesn't actually show any examples of harassment. They don't show tweets, they don't show articles calling it out, they don't show any kind of proof. Yes, Frost did face a lot of backlash and criticisms because of course when you're going to call your entire audience sexists, yeah, you're going to face a lot of backlash over that, but they don't show any proof as to what the harassment was. And here we go, it talks about a final year filled with controversy. G4 wound up gaining visibility for the wrong reasons, which is very true. At the beginning of 2022, of course, Frost headed up a segment in which she called out sexism among the network's fan base, taking aim at the original G4's legacy of female hosts who were objectified by its show and their male viewers. Well, the reason why G4 was able to stay around for so long in the first place is because it brought in viewership, and then it, of course, brought in money, and with the new G4, that failed to happen. Maybe that is a major reason why having female hosts on who were fine with doing jokes and wearing specific outfits that I don't know, appeal to the audience that you have. Of course, the new G4 actually did that by hiring Amaranth to come on a live stream and do an episode of X Play where she was in a plastic ball pit wearing a bikini. So they ended up doing the same exact thing they claimed they wanted to fight against, but it was just too late at that point. They looked like massive hypocrites. They also say that the segment had G4's initial support with a now deleted tweet saying that we stand with Frosk and the women in this space, and behind the scenes, say former employees, the segment was a spontaneous idea born of a conversation about personal experiences between Frosk and other members of the X-Play team that received approval from producers beforehand, but in the following days, numerous YouTube videos and tweets surfaced from influencers suggesting she had insulted G4's viewers and deserved to be fired. She was harassed, threatened, doxed, meaning trolls publicly posted private information pertaining to her real life location, and claiming that people doxed her is a very large claim. I never saw a single dox, and I mean, I covered this situation pretty heavily. I was looking at social media posts on Twitter. I was watching YouTube comments. I didn't see anybody dox her. So I don't know where this claim is coming from. Yes, she did, again, receive a lot of criticism and face a lot of backlash. I mean, I made YouTube videos on this situation many, many times, but she did deserve to be criticized, because when you call a whole audience sexists, you should be called out for that. You shouldn't be able to just call anybody anything you want and get away with it. I mean, you're making a public statement. As a public figure, people should be able to publicly call you out. Now, this is a very interesting section of this article because it says multiple female staffers told the Post the situation was galling and that they had been promised something different when they joined G4. The message was very explicitly, we are going to be a different G4 that recognizes the sins of our past, and we are going to make sure that it doesn't happen again in regards to diversity, inclusion, and sexism. And the former contractor decried the company for sitting idle while one of its hosts was harassed for months. There were so many different things they could have done as opposed to letting YouTubers run wild. So these people wanted G4's leaders to come out to make statements. I don't know what they mean by this. Maybe even strike down videos. That's not explicitly stated here, but it's definitely interesting that they wanted them to do different things so that YouTubers weren't running wild, and there really aren't many ways to do that. I mean, they came out, they made the statement, they posted her clips on their social media saying that she was stunning and brave and that they stood by her. I mean, maybe they shouldn't have let her go on that rant in the first place and make them look terrible, but they did, and that's just, I mean, how it goes. What did these employees want them to do? I think that it's hilarious that they talked about how, you know, they wanted to recognize the sins of their past, aka really get viewers, because that's what G4 did in the past. I mean, G4, X-Play, they did get viewership, and they did have a very large fan base, and clearly the diversity, inclusion, and anti-sexism didn't really work out for the revival. Ultimately, of course, this journalist is just doing their very best to come up with every reason why G4 failed and really blame it on anyone who criticized the revival, who criticized the hosts, and who just simply didn't like Frosk's sexism and gaming rant. Ultimately, I mean, G4 is dead at this point a second time. I don't think that they're going to come back for a third time, and on social media, the hosts have been pretty quiet at this point. The first couple of days, they made a lot of statements, but now they're being pretty quiet. They don't have much to say, just because I think they realize anything they say now could affect the way that they work in the future, if they get jobs in the gaming industry, if they end up working for esports team, and I just think at this point they're pretty afraid to ruin their careers. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this video and found it important and informative, please make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.